All right, Dr. Ajay Lele, space expert from ITSA, joins us to help us understand how big and significant is this development. Thank you so much, sir. Good morning for joining us on DD India News Hour. This is another feat that has been established by ISRO, and LVM-3M6 has placed BlueBird 2 into the intended orbit. We would want you to explain to our viewers in very simple layman terms, what does it mean for ISRO and the country's space ambitions?
Thank you so much for having me. I think this is a very interesting mission as far as India is concerned at various levels. The first and most important thing is that India has launched the heaviest satellite so far into a low Earth orbit, which is weighing more than 6,000 kgs. So this is definitely a very great achievement as far as India is concerned, because to launch a heavy satellite into an orbit, you require a very stealthy and a very reliable launch vehicle. If we see the launch vehicle, the LVM-3, this was the 9th successful launch of this vehicle. This vehicle has got 3 stages, and the last stage, which is always considered as a very critical stage, the cryogenic stage. This particular technology was giving problems to India a couple of years back. During the 1990s, this technology, the same US for which the India has launched its satellite, had refused the transfer of this technology and put pressure on Russia not to transfer the cryogenic technology to India. Subsequently, Indian scientists developed this technology. We had some failures as far as development of this technology is concerned, but now one can say with confidence that our cryogenic technology is a fully developed a technology which can be used very significantly both for India's launches as well as for commercial launches. If you see the history of this particularly LVM-3 rocket, as it has been already explained by you, that we have done a Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 launch. We have done a launch for private sector, that is OneWeb, 36 satellites in each launch, covering total 76 satellites. So it's a proven technology, the track-proven technology. I'm sure that as far as India's rocket launching is concerned for the commercial sector, this will give a boost. And other aspect which I would like to bring notice over here is that whenever you do one launch, it almost takes 5 to 6 months to undertake the second launch, because you have to create a new vehicle, you have to create the launch site, so on and so forth. But ISRO has done this LVM-3 launch back to back within the range of only 52 days. So the global market is also looking at India not only to provide us very successful launch, but also to give them an opportunity in a quick succession to launch their satellites. So I think this will boost India at 2 to 3 levels. One is that we can launch a heavy satellites. Other is that the launch window is going to be very less as compared to the past. And third, as always, India develops and invests into frugal technologies. So there always will be a cost benefit advantage if the agencies are launching satellites from India.
All right, that was about commercial launching. Sir, I would want you to also explain to our viewers what exactly is the BlueBird 2 mission and why is it important for ISRO?
As far as this satellite is concerned, India is not going to get benefited from this. So as far as ISRO is concerned, the importance is commercial importance, and other importance is that we have successfully launched a heaviest satellite. As far as this satellite is concerned, it is going to provide the mobile services. What happens is that to have a signal to your mobile, you require all those towers and other paraphernalia. But particularly now the technology has reached to a level where from satellite to your 4G, 5G direct linking will be there. So from satellite to mobile, the linking will be there. And these types of technologies actually help you in the arenas where the signal strength is always weak. Suppose you take the country, for example, you take the country like India, which has got large amount of topographic challenges. You got a Himalayan range, you got thick forest cover into Northeast India, you got a peninsular India. So having signals without towers is always a challenge. But these types of technologies where you don't require that sort of other paraphernalia because it is taking the signal right directly from the satellite to your mobile phones. So this is a very important technology, not only as far as India is concerned, at a global level. If you see the track record of this particular company, BlueBird, they are saying that particularly because of this satellite, there will be 10 times increment as far as technology and reach of that company is also concerned. So very significant milestone from a commercial aspect for the mobile technology.
All right. So you focused on the commercial aspect, but then, sir, when we talk of ISRO's journey in the 1960s, very humble beginnings from carrying rockets on bicycles to this day when we have Chandrayaan feat established, when we have BlueBird feat established, when we are on the global page, How has been the journey so far? Where does it put us on the global space when we talk of space and science and technology?
I think if you trace the history of India's space program, it has been a slow but a very steady journey. India became a space-faring nation. That means a country which can launch a satellite by using its own vehicle by 1980. And subsequently, we have launched many satellites for the commercial reasons also. Today's satellite was the 434th satellite as far as commercial aspects are concerned. What has happened is that because of the presence of SpaceX, which came into existence by launching satellites around 2013, subsequently, because of the internet facilities being made available, tremendous amount of a market has emerged as far as the domain of a space is concerned. So under these circumstances, I think ISRO peaked at a right point in time because we did a successful mission in the year 2008 as far as Chandrayaan is concerned. And that itself demonstrated to the world that how good a country which was once considered as a third world country can be in the domain of a space. So India's investments into the domain of a space has been very thoughtful. We have always argued that our space program is for the socio-economic developments. So in 60s and 70s, we have beautifully used space technologies along with a television technology to impart education to far reachable places in the country also. Because you might be having good teachers into certain parts of the country, but to give that sort of a education to the people in the rural India was a difficult proposal. So that time ISRO's technologies along with the televisions has actually played a very major role. As far as telemedicine is also concerned, India has made a very significant contribution as far as giving the benefits of the doctor's advice to the people who are otherwise not in a position to access those types of things. So all these things have become possible only because we started developing very wisely since 1960s onwards into the domain of a space. And today we can see now we are not only using space technology for socio-economic development, but we are using it to gain the commercial gains also.
All right, another very important point put forth by Prime Minister was the Atmanirbharta or self-reliance in the space sector. Where are we standing now, and how does the journey ahead look like when we talk of self-reliance in space technology?
As far as space is concerned, owing to India's nuclear policies, particularly we went nuclear with Pokhran 1, Pokhran 2, there were a lot amount of restrictions as far as the transfer of technology was concerned. As I was already making a mention that cryogenic Indian technology, the US decided not to not allow Russians to transfer the technology to India. But India used this particular period of a time when India was put under severe restrictions to actually develop the technologies on its own. And that is giving us the benefits today, since we have invested for last 2 to 3 decades, particularly in development of the technologies on our own. And that's the reason today, when the country which has refused to give a technology to India, a private player from that particular country is only looking at India to launch its satellite. So I think the clock has come full.
All right, with that, we end this conversation here. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning on DD India News Hour and helping us understand the journey of ISRO and where are we standing today on the global page when we talk of science and technology and space technology in particular.